Have you ever stopped to wonder where a truly great idea actually comes from? I don't mean just a good idea, but a world-changing breakthrough. You know, the kind that reshapes science or art. It feels like magic, right? Like a bolt of lightning from a clear blue sky? Well, in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on that exact mystery.
Now listen to this. This isn't some poet or a mystic talking. We're talking about Nikola Tesla, one of the most brilliant scientific minds in history. He felt that his revolutionary ideas weren't something he generated, but something he received. It's a really strange and powerful claim, right? But what's even crazier is, he was not alone.
In fact, this is a pattern you see woven all through history. You had Plato, who believed true knowledge was just remembering things from a perfect world of forms. Then there's Isaac Newton, who flat out credited his insights to the creator. The mathematical genius Ramanujan claimed a Hindu goddess literally gave him formulas in his dreams. And Mozart, he described entire symphonies just popping into his head, totally complete in a single instant.
So this brings us to the big question. What is really going on here? Are these all just fancy metaphors? Or were all of these geniuses tapping into the same, deep, fundamental process, a mechanism of the mind that we're only now, with science, beginning to understand? Let's solve this puzzle.
Okay, so to get to the answer, we first need to understand the basic architecture of how we know anything at all. According to psychology and neuroscience, our minds basically operate in three distinct layers, built one right on top of the other.
It all starts at the bottom, with the most primitive layer, instinct. Then, built on top of that, feeling emerges. And only then, at the very top of the stack, does the conscious act of thinking actually come online. It's a total bottom-up progression, from ancient survival wiring to modern complex reasoning.
Layer 1, instinct. Think of this as our ancient automatic hardware. It's running in the oldest parts of our brain, like the brainstem. It's incredibly fast, totally unconscious, and it's responsible for all those raw survival impulses. You know, fight, flight, attraction, avoidance. It's the absolute bedrock of all knowing.
Now, sitting on top of that instinct is layer 2, feeling. This is our brain's rapid-fire evaluation system. It's centered in the limbic system, and its job is to attach an emotional charge to everything. This is good, that is bad. Pay attention to this, ignore that. It's the bridge between raw survival and deliberate thought, telling us what's meaningful before we even have a chance to think about it.
And finally, we get to layer 3, the conscious act. This is what we usually think of as me, our rational, logical mind humming away in the prefrontal cortex. But here's the catch. This layer is slow. It burns a ton of energy, and it only really gets to work after instinct and feeling have already laid all the groundwork.
So, with these 3 layers in our back pocket, how does a true breakthrough, an aha moment, actually happen? Well, a scientific framework called the Brain Kinematics Model gives us a step-by-step map of the whole process. It takes us right inside that incredible moment of insight.
It all kicks off with a problem. The process begins when your mind is just wrestling with something it can't solve. This creates a state of unresolved mental and emotional tension. The source material calls this strain, and it's absolutely essential. It's the fuel for the breakthrough.
Now, while your conscious mind might feel totally stuck, like you're hitting a brick wall, your brain is working like crazy in the background. Its huge, interconnected webs of memories and concepts, the model calls them memory fractals, are non-consciously searching and searching, trying to find a new pattern or connection that can finally resolve that strain.
And then, it happens. Suddenly, all these separate ideas that were floating around, totally unconnected, just click into place. It's like all the different search teams in your brain converge on a single, elegant solution all at once. This is the climax. This is that light bulb moment.
And this event actually has a scientific name. It's the formation of a superconscious attractor. That's the technical term for this brand new, stable, super powerful idea that emerges out of all the chaos. So that amazing feeling of a breakthrough, that's you experiencing all that mental strain suddenly collapsing into one perfectly coherent solution.
Okay, so this is all fascinating science, but how does it solve our original mystery? How does this explain why so many geniuses felt like their best ideas came from above, from somewhere else entirely?
I mean, just look at the consistency here. You've got a prophet, a philosopher, a scientist, a composer, a mathematician. We're talking different cultures, different eras, different fields. But look, they all describe the exact same phenomenon, a perfect, fully formed idea that arrives in a flash from a source that feels totally external to them.
And here is the solution. That feeling of an idea coming from above is simply our conscious mind's best guess for an event it didn't create. That superconscious attractor we talked about, it forms at a level much deeper than our deliberate thought. Our conscious mind can't see the work, so it can't trace the idea's origin. It just concludes, well, I didn't make that, so it must have come from outside, from above. But scientifically, this above is just a higher, more integrated level of our own mind, the superconscious.
Now, this model isn't just about historical geniuses. It has some really profound implications for how we understand creativity, information, and even ourselves, right here in the modern world. And this is a brilliant illustration of how it works. Ever wonder why some modern art can be so confusing? It's often because it emerges from an artist's deeply personal, internal strain field. It's like a dream whose logic is totally private. But then you get AI-generated content, which can be incredibly convincing. Why? Because it does the exact opposite. It synthesizes patterns from our collective shared knowledge, mirroring our own logic back to us in a way that feels instantly familiar. This all points to a fundamental rule about our brains. They are wired to be efficient, lazy even. They will always try to minimize strain and take the path of least resistance. This drive to save energy means we are naturally drawn to ideas that are easy to process, whether or not they're actually true or even good for us. And this is a pretty stark consequence. True critical thinking, the kind that challenges assumptions and puts up with ambiguity, is energetically expensive. It requires you to increase mental strain, not run from it. And because of that, it's rare. As this chart shows, the source material suggests that for the vast majority of us, as many as 89%, it's just more likely we'll follow those easier, prepackaged, low-energy pathways of thought.
So we end here. We've seen that history's greatest insights didn't come from a place of ease and comfort. They were born from a process of wrestling with deep, unresolved strain. The struggle wasn't a sign of failure. It was the engine of the breakthrough. And that turns this entire explanation right back to you. If true insight is born from strain, what problem is worth your struggle?